Okay, so next up we have Tiffany. She is, Tiffany Connauton. She is the founder and CEO of Beyond Diversity. And she works as an organizational consultant with different companies, including lots of mining companies. She herself is a woman on the tools. She has a diverse experience in business, finance, oil and gas, as well as organizational consulting. So I sort of love that we ended Emily's conversation with where should mining companies start? Because I know, Tiffany, you and I have had conversations about, mining companies that want to set up a positive work environment. They know that it's very important for them to attract great people, to retain those people, and to support them to do their best work. And if they know that their culture maybe isn't doing that right now, or if they see gaps, or if they've had incidents, or if they've lost people, and they really are committed to doing better on this, where should they start?
It's a great question, Erica. And first, let me just say, like, your theme around, and Lisa mentioned it too, like profit and people are not mutually exclusive. And
Mm,
it's such an important part of Beyond Diversity in that we have to kind of stop thinking about if we take care of our people, we can't make money, or, taking care of our people takes away resources from the organization. Really, taking care of people is how we make money. So I just thank you so much for bringing that up because it was so good. And Lisa, too, to your point, like just I so aligned with that. So when we talk about where to start, I think the biggest thing is understanding where you are at. So with the approach that we take, we really look at the employee journey first. There's lots of work to be done in strategy, in governance, in policy. All of that still needs to be done. It's critical. However, when we approach the problem, we take a look at the employee experience. So we look at the recruiting, we look at the hiring, we look at their experience within the culture, we look at what retirement looks like, promotion, all of the different pieces. We break it down to its systems, and then we can actually identify the gaps. So very much like what Lisa was talking about in that design thinking piece, we really dig into the why behind the problem.
mm,
I have firsthand knowledge and experience on what happens when things go wrong. And I think
mm.
that with that experience, I am able to come into an organization and explain to the C-suite or the middle management about, this is more than just oh, it didn't work. There's real human impact behind this. So if we really want to build a better future for our workforces and for organizations, we need to really dig into that why.
Amazing. And thank you, Tiffany, for sharing that. I know so many of our Artemis members have come through some personal experiences, sometimes very difficult ones. And they've used that experience and turned it into fuel to say, I won't let this happen anywhere else, or I'm going to do my best to be part of the solution that makes sure that this happens to fewer people in the future. And it can be, very daunting. It can be difficult when we have those challenges, and it would be very understandable. And I think we know by the statistics, lots of people choose to leave the industry, to exit. And what I see in what you're doing is taking that experience, and now you're saying, I can use it to help mining leaders spot the challenges and sort of bandage the leaks and make sure they don't lose any more good people or harm them in the process inadvertently, with failing to take care of their psychological safety, for example, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's, kind of one of the biggest lessons through the journey of, building Beyond Diversity was the fact that when we look at this work, it's often looked like as an extra. And we have to
Mm,
stop looking at it like that. It shouldn't be an extra in business. We should be able to create like sustainable solutions that carry on through the business. And the way that I look at it when I work with my clients is like, I should work myself out of a job. I shouldn't need to be partnered with you long term. If I am, then we kind of have a problem. So, when we look at that, changing the way that we do business. And I really, Artemis is so important for that too. Lisa, we're so aligned, and I'm going to bring it back to you again. Just because, you mentioned like the change that Artemis is creating. And one of the things that we do with Beyond Diversity is we really believe in collaboration. So, I mean, like, we're part of a group called Median Solutions, where we work with mental health professionals and neurodiversity professionals, because we know that those are intersectional solution problems that we really want to advance. And we want to change this idea that businesses have to be competitive against one another. If we're going to change the world, then we have to change the way that we do it too. So I think that there's lots of complexities that that we can bring to the surface when we talk about solutioning for organizations, especially in oil and gas and mining and those types of organizations. The trades have been seen as unprofessional for a very long time. And it's time that we kind of start raising the bar and saying, no, they are professionals and they deserve to have the same services. They deserve to have the same support. They deserve to have the same outlook on what a business can be as our C-suites and our office staff. So, yeah.
Wow. There are so many things I want to say, Tiffany. That's brilliant. And I think it really aligns with the conversation we've been having at in the Artemis core team as well, and understanding the importance of that front lines, and saying, like, sometimes we say people at the bottom, or we use this language that really implies that they're less than, like we've got the CEO at the top and we've got these people at the bottom. And it's like, well, no, everybody has different responsibilities and we're all important. We are all human beings with, needs and families at home and dreams and aspirations and strengths that we can bring to the table, and really kind of just maybe removing some of that hierarchical thinking and saying, the sites are so important. And I know from some of the mining companies that I've spoken to, the leaders are very, very respectful and do understand, like, those hourly employees, they are the ones with their hands on the value. This is the value coming out of the ground. The closer to the mine site you get, the more of the value that you're actually touching on. And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
I would love to bring it back to your experience a little bit, because you are fairly new to the entrepreneurial journey, right? But you've already, really embodied, and you're starting to work with some of these entrepreneurial qualities. So we've already spoken about being nimble, being agile, right? Being able
Yeah.
to respond to emerging problems and emerging needs from customers, for example, being adaptable and flexible. Now, how do you think that these qualities could benefit mining companies if they were to, for example, embody them?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so funny because I think that there's such a literal translation. We will touch on innovation. So as an entrepreneur, we really need to be innovative in how we approach our customers to be successful. We often meet them where they're at, especially as a small emerging entrepreneur. However, mining companies are going to have to be the same thing. And what that really comes down to is this new generation. And I'm so excited for Gen Z. I know that it's kind of causing some grief with an organization, so I'll temper my excitement, but they are really pushing the envelope on what the employee-employer relationship is going to be looking like in the future of work. And organizations, especially mining companies, are going to have to be innovative. They're going to have to think of employee relations much differently than they have before. They're going to have to think about flexible scheduling more than they ever have before. And they're going to have to meet this generation where they're at and provide value in, kind of work-life integration, not even work-life balance, but work-life integration. It's going to be quite important. Continuous learning forever in the trades. It's like, that's the way that we do it. This is always the way that we do it. We've done it like that for 24 years, 30 years, all of that. Continuous learning in entrepreneurship is extremely important. We are always with a pulse on what's going on and how we're going to adapt. That continuous learning has to translate to the mining industry as well. They're going to have to look at what the future is going to be. And we are changing in every aspect of business. If we look at Emily's work, it's so fast paced and it's changing every day. In the people space, it's the same thing. So organizations have to take this adoption of continuous learning and they have to apply it throughout their organization, and they can't stay still. And I would say the last one's probably risk taking. So as an entrepreneur, if we don't take risks, we either grow very slowly or we don't grow at all. There's lots that we have to do to just kind of like throw caution to the wind and jump in. That is not a historically acceptable business outlook. So I think that, you know, when we look at the benefits of risk taking, we don't know what the future is going to be. We are learning as we go. We have no idea what tomorrow is going to look like in many aspects of organizational design. So
Mm.
we're going to have to take some risks, and we're going to have to be a little bit bold in that. And we're going to have to kind of look at mitigation of those risks a little bit differently.
Fantastic. So I hear some themes in what you're speaking about, and what your work entails with mining companies, which are, you know, really understanding that employee experience. I mean, empathy is the word that's coming to mind here, really placing yourself in the shoes of those employees and making sure that all the different systems and the infrastructure that needs to be in place to support them or create their experience is really dialed in properly with that person in mind. And I'm also hearing you talking about the future, right? And looking at workforce planning and how to adapt to different trends and things that are happening. What else would you say about the work that you do with mining companies that you would like them to know about?
I think that for me, it's really about building an environment where everyone belongs. So
Mhm.
historically, and even to this day, we are creating siloed pieces, right? So we have the
Mm,
gender, we have the LGBT, we have the indigenous, and
mm,
I would be the first to argue that men have also been marginalized. And
mm.
we have to really stop separating ourselves. We have to start really working towards building organizations where everybody belongs. And that's going to take a very intersectional view. And that's the work that we do. So while we understand that each of these groups has very, very unique experiences and has unique challenges that they have to overcome, bringing them all to the same table and allowing them all to have the same voice will allow us to elevate our organizations much, much quicker than if we continue to silo with all of the different groups. So we have a very deep commitment to intersectionality. I think that with that, it kind of blends through all of the work that we do with organizations in that kind of organizational consulting. So yeah, I think it's that with collaboration is, you know, one of the pieces. In the fall, we have a couple of very exciting pieces that are going to be coming out, some new pieces to the business. We're in development right now, and I can't say too much about it, but it'll actually really elevate our ability to give our clients a very amazing view of where they are at. It will be a very in-depth view of either their facilities, of where they're at in their culture, where they're at with their leadership, and it'll give them a really great starting point with some background and then some expertise to be able to help them along the way. So we're really excited about that work as well.
Tremendous. Well, thank you, Tiffany, and congratulations to you for weaving together these different threads. Again, I see a theme. Also, Lisa talked about these different silos, right? And how you're working across multiple groups and really helping bring them together to work more effectively to produce that outcome that we all want. And great tie-in with the theme of International Women in Mining Day this year. I am mining and I belong. I mean, that is really the dream for everyone, to have their employees working safely, working productively with a sense of belonging. I think we all know that that's where the magic really happens, and they start to really thrive in their results. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for taking the time to tell us about Beyond Diversity.
Thanks, Erica and team.
And kudos